You're sitting in an airplane seat, the doors close, and a flight attendant reminds you to fasten your seatbelt. You click it into place. Simple enough. But have you ever noticed something strange? Cars have shoulder belts. Even roller coasters strap you in from every angle. Yet at 35,000 feet, traveling at nearly 600 miles per hour, airplanes only give you a simple lap belt. That seems completely backwards. So why do airplanes, the machines flying faster and higher than almost anything most of us will ever ride, use less restraint than your family SUV? The answer turns out to reveal something surprising about how airplanes are actually designed to keep you alive. At first glance, it feels like airlines are cutting corners. After all, modern cars have shoulder belts because they save lives. So why wouldn't airlines use them too? The obvious answer would be cost. Airlines love saving money, but that's not the real reason. In fact, regulators have studied this question for decades, and the truth is much stranger. Because airplanes and cars face completely different kinds of accidents. Let's start with cars. Every time you drive, you're surrounded by things you might hit. Other cars, traffic lights, guardrails, buildings, trees. And when a car crashes, it usually comes to a stop extremely quickly. Imagine driving 60 miles per hour and suddenly hitting a wall. Your body wants to keep moving forward. Without a shoulder belt, you'd slam into the steering wheel, dashboard, or windshield. That's exactly why shoulder belts became mandatory in cars. They spread crash forces across your chest and shoulders while preventing your upper body from flying forward. But here's the problem. Airplanes almost never experience crashes like cars do. Commercial aviation accidents are incredibly rare to begin with, and when serious accidents do occur, they usually involve something very different from a head-on collision. The biggest threat to passengers isn't smashing into something at highway speeds. It's surviving what's called a survivable impact. Aircraft cabins are designed around a concept known as the 16G standard. That means seats must be able to protect passengers during impacts, generating forces up to 16 times the force of gravity. Sounds terrifying, but the key detail is the direction of those forces. Most survivable airplane accidents involve rapid deceleration while passengers are already facing forward. In those situations, modern aircraft seats are engineered so the seat in front of you becomes part of the safety system. That's why airlines tell passengers to adopt the brace position during an emergency landing. The idea isn't to hold you upright. It's actually to control how your body moves during impact. Your lap belt keeps your hips secured, the strongest bones in your body, while the seat structure and brace position help absorb energy. In other words, the entire row of seats is designed to work together as one giant protective system. But if that's true, why do pilots and flight attendants often wear shoulder harnesses? Because their jobs are completely different. Pilots spend critical phases of flight takeoff, landing, and emergencies sitting upright while actively controlling the airplane. They can't lean forward into a brace position. They need to remain fully conscious and in position immediately after an impact. That's why cockpit seats include shoulder harnesses. Flight attendants face a similar situation. Many jump seats are equipped with shoulder restraints because cabin crew need to remain functional after an emergency landing to help evacuate passengers. Remember, in an evacuation, every second matters. Passengers can simply focus on protecting themselves. Crew members have to protect everyone else. But for ordinary passengers sitting in forward-facing seats, adding shoulder belts creates an entirely new set of problems. And this is where the story takes an unexpected turn. The real reason airlines don't install shoulder belts for passengers is that, in many cases, they could actually make things worse. At first, that sounds ridiculous. But consider turbulence. Most passenger injuries on commercial flights happen not during crashes, but during unexpected turbulence. When severe turbulence strikes, passengers who aren't wearing lap belts can be thrown into the ceiling. A lap belt does a very good job of preventing that. Adding shoulder restraints for millions of passengers introduces new concerns. People could become tangled. Evacuations could slow down. Children and elderly travelers might struggle to release unfamiliar restraints during emergencies. And in a dark, smoke-filled cabin where everyone has only seconds to escape, simplicity becomes incredibly important. Regulators have repeatedly concluded that for standard forward-facing airline seats, properly worn lap belts provide the best balance between protection and rapid evacuation. That's why the design hasn't changed, even as aircraft technology has advanced dramatically. This also explains one of the most repeated instructions in aviation. Keep your seatbelt fastened whenever you're seated, even when the sign is off. Because turbulence is unpredictable, pilots can often avoid it, but not always. And the vast majority of serious passenger injuries happen to people who weren't buckled in when unexpected turbulence struck. The next time a flight attendant asks you to fasten your seatbelt, they're not just following procedure. They're addressing the single biggest safety risk most airline passengers actually face. Could passenger shoulder belts appear in the future? Possibly. In fact, some premium seats, business class suites, and side-facing seats already use advanced shoulder restraints because those seat designs require additional protection. As airline cabins evolve, we may see more specialized restraint systems. But for the traditional forward-facing economy seat found on most flights today, the simple lap belt remains remarkably effective. Sometimes the oldest technology survives because it still works best. So the next time you click that simple lap belt into place, remember this. Airplanes don't skip shoulder belts because airlines are being cheap. They skip them because airplanes aren't cars. Sometimes, less restraint actually means more safety. If you learned something new, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to see more such videos.